The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like a swarm of angry bees, casting a sterile glow over the cluttered office that had been Garrett's domain for 11 long years. Stacks of shipping manifests teetered on his desk, yellowed edges curling from years of handling, each one a testament to the intricate web of logistics he'd woven for Midwest auto distribution. At 49, Garrett Brooks wasn't the type to chase trends or flaunt his expertise. He let his results do the talking. 8 states, $200 million in automotive parts flowing like clockwork through his systems, suppliers placated, inventories rotated for seasonal demands, temperature-sensitive components shielded from the Midwest's brutal winters. He'd built it all from the ground up after the last manager bolted, leaving chaos in his wake. Now here he sat, staring at Bryce Harlan, his 31-year-old boss, who lounged in the visitor's chair like he owned the place, which in a way he did, at least on paper. Bryce's MBA smile was plastered on, the kind that screamed, "I read about this in a case study." He adjusted his crisp tie, fingers drumming on a tablet that probably cost more than Garrett's monthly mortgage. "Garrett, we've been restructuring the logistics division," Bryce said, his voice smooth as polished chrome. "It's nothing personal, you understand. Digital transformation is the future. We found someone who can modernize our operations. Dashboards, automation, the works. And it's 60% of your current compensation. Efficiency, right?" Garrett's stomach twisted, a slow burn igniting in his chest. 11 years. He'd missed Collins' Little League championship for a midnight crisis with a frozen truckload of brake pads. He'd argued down a supplier strike that could have cost the company 6 figures, his voice hoarse from hours on the phone, while Stephanie paced the kitchen at home, worrying about the bills. Lance's orthodontist appointments, the family vacations postponed, all sacrificed on the altar of this job. And now this kid, fresh from some Ivy League program, was tossing him aside like yesterday's inventory report. "Better?" Garrett echoed, his voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of thunder. He leaned back in his chair, the leather creaking under his weight, eyes locking onto Bryce's. "After everything I've built here?" Bryce shifted, his smile faltering just a fraction. "Better suited for the new direction, Garrett. You've done great work, analog work, but the board wants metrics, real-time tracking. This new guy's got the tools, AI integration, predictive analytics. You'll get a severance package, of course, 2 months' pay, and we'll even throw in a recommendation letter." The words hung in the air, heavy and final. Garrett's mind raced, piecing together the implications. The house in the suburbs, the college funds for the boys, Colin dreaming of engineering school, Lance with his head in the clouds about art. Stephanie's part-time nursing gig wouldn't cover it all, not by a long shot. He could feel the suspense building in his own chest, a coiling spring of uncertainty. What now? Storm out? Beg? No, that wasn't him. He nodded slowly, forcing a calm he didn't feel. "I see. When do I clear out?" "End of day," Bryce replied, standing up with a brisk nod. "HR will handle the paperwork. Thanks for your service, Garrett." He extended a hand, but Garrett didn't take it. Bryce withdrew awkwardly, slipping out the door with the confidence of someone who'd never sweated through a supply chain meltdown. Alone now, Garrett exhaled, the room feeling smaller, the walls closing in. He glanced at the photo on his desk, Stephanie's warm smile, the boys grinning from a fishing trip last summer. His fingers trembled as he dialed her number, the phone pressed to his ear. "Steph? Yeah, it's me. Listen, they let me go." The words choked him, emotion surging like a tidal wave. She gasped on the other end, her voice cracking. "What? After all this time? Garrett, what are we going to do?" I could picture her in the kitchen, hand over her mouth, eyes welling up. "I don't know yet," I admitted, my own voice thickening, "but we'll figure it out. We always do." He hung up, staring at the screen, suspense gnawing at him. 11 years flushed away for some hotshot with buzzwords. He began packing, methodically at first, files into boxes, personal items tucked away. But as he sifted through the drawers, memories flooded back. The frantic all-nighter during the 2018 blizzard, rerouting shipments to save $250,000 in losses, the handshake deals with suppliers that no algorithm could replicate. His heart ached, a deep emotional bruise forming. Was this it? The end of his legacy here? The phone rang, jolting him from his reverie. Not his cell, the desk line, the one tied to the company's internal system. He glanced at the caller ID. Dean Patterson, VP of Operations, Bryce's boss. Garrett's pulse quickened. Dean, why now? He picked up, voice cautious. This is Garrett. Garrett, it's Dean. What the hell is going on down there? I just got wind of this restructuring nonsense. Bryce says he's bringing in some whiz kid to replace you? Dean's tone was gruff, laced with disbelief. Garrett had known Dean for years, built a rapport during that supplier dispute where he'd saved the company $180,000 by negotiating like a pit bull. Dean valued grit over gloss. Garrett hesitated, the suspense thickening like fog. Should he spill it all? Play it cool? Yeah, that's what he told me. End of day, I'm out. Found someone better, apparently. There was a pause on the line, heavy with implication. Better? You? Garrett, you've got institutional knowledge that kid couldn't buy with a dozen MBAs. Remember the Patterson account? You pulled that out of the fire when everyone else panicked. Hold on, don't go anywhere. I'm calling Bryce in. The line clicked to hold, and Garrett's heart hammered. Emotional intensity surged, hope flickering amid the despair. What if this changed everything? Minutes stretched like hours, suspense coiling tighter. He paced the office, box half-packed, mind whirling. Stephanie's worried face flashed in his thoughts, the boys' futures hanging in the balance. If Dean intervened... The door burst open, Bryce striding in, face flushed. Dean's voice boomed from the speakerphone now on Garrett's desk. Bryce, explain yourself. You're firing the guy who's kept this division afloat for a decade? Bryce stammered, his confidence cracking. Sir, it's about modernization, the new hire. New hire? Some 20-something with a laptop and no scars? Garrett's system handles variables you haven't even thought of. Seasonal rotations, real-time crisis management. You think a dashboard replaces that? Dean's words were a lifeline, pulling Garrett from the emotional abyss. Garrett watched Bryce squirm, a suspenseful satisfaction building. But it wasn't just revenge, it was validation, the emotional weight of his dedication finally acknowledged. I thought it would save costs, Bryce muttered. Costs? At what price? Garrett, unpack that box. Bryce, you're on probation. And get that new guy on the phone. Tell him the deal's off. Bryce's eyes widened, the room electric with tension. He nodded mutely, slinking out. Garrett sank into his chair, relief washing over him like a cool rain. But the emotion lingered, the fear, the anger, the raw vulnerability. He picked up the phone again. Steph, change of plans. Yet as the day wore on, the suspense didn't fully dissipate. Bryce returned later, tail between his legs, mumbling about a miscalculation. Garrett accepted the apology with a nod, but inside the emotional intensity simmered. He dodged the bullet, but the scar remained. 11 years, and it had come to this, a phone call from above to right the wrong. He dove back into work, rerouting a delayed shipment with the ease of long practice. But his mind wandered. What if Dean hadn't called? The thought hung there, suspenseful and haunting.